Hello and welcome to this week's edition of Pals Pulls. This is the Comics Pals live show where we review comic books. I am joined by Kale today.
What's up, hot dogs?
And of course, I am Sean. We are here to talk about some of the biggest releases this week. I would say kind of a light week in terms of, major releases, but we've got some fun stuff to talk about today, for sure. We've got Doctor Strange Fall Sunrise, #1.
Ooh, who's
Yeah.
that one?
I don't know. I never know the answer to that question, but I really loved this cover. I thought it looked really cool. Um, it could be Ron Lim and Israel Silva. Could also be Dave Mack. So I don't know. We've got Once Upon a Time at the End of the World, #1. It's a new Jason Aaron joint with many other great talented artists. And the Human Target #9. And then the listener pick, a big surprise. This is our first time ever reading a G.I. Joe book. We got G.I. Joe 300.
G.I. Joe.
Yeah. Big celebration milestone issue. Big price tag on it too, $7. But
Boy.
for a 300th issue, it makes sense, I guess. Say hello, please, as you join in, if you would be so inclined. We're going to get right into those reviews in a moment, but before we do that, I want to let you know how you can support the show. If you enjoy what we do here, the best way to support us is patreon.com/thecomicspals, where for as little as $3 a month, you can get access to some really cool content of ours. And, you help us out. We appreciate everyone that chooses to do that. Give us a look over there. If you want to watch us live, that's YouTube and twitch.tv/thecomicspals every single Thursday at 6 p.m. Today's Wednesday, of course, because tomorrow is Thanksgiving. We thought we would give you guys the gift of Pals Pulls before you have the gift of turkey. But normally we'd be here on Thursdays at 6 p.m. Eastern, Saturdays at 10:15 a.m. Eastern for the main show. And everything else is at the Comics Pals. All socials, everything else, come hang out on our Discord server. Link to that in the description of anything that we do. All right, Kill, you ready to review some books here?
Yeah, do you need to take a breath after all that or anything?
I'm good, man. I am good. Let's talk about Doctor Strange Fall Sunrise. This is a Tradd Moore book. Tradd Moore doing the writing and art here with Heather Moore on colors. Clayton Cowles and Tradd Moore on letters. So Tradd Moore just doing it all.
I bet he did the sound effects.
Oh,
Most
yeah,
of the sound effects.
probably. Yeah, that sounds right.
Got that baked into the art.
So are you a Tradd Moore fan?
Yeah, I've been looking out for Tradd Moore since Luther Strode. So I think I don't know if it was his first series, but it was the first thing I saw him in. It was an Image series way back when about a guy who was just fucking insanely ripped, and he could destroy anything he punched. It was cool.
Huh. Okay. Well, I have no familiarity with Tradd Moore. I don't think. I can't recall a book.
He did Silver Surfer Black not that long ago.
Okay. Yeah. That was cool. What did you think of this?
I'm so glad you asked. I have no idea. The art was incredible. And I would like to know how the experience was on paper, because there were a lot of points in the book where I was very glad I was reading digital so that I could zoom in and figure out what the hell was going on.
Oh, I see what you mean. Yeah, I can definitely spot, even just flipping through it now, some points at which I wish that I could have zoomed in. I mean, look, this is not my kind of book. I don't know what actually happened in this comic. It's very kind of all over the place. I didn't follow it, to be completely honest. And Tradd Moore's art is so wonky and certainly not formless, but it doesn't conform itself to the way that people or things necessarily look. Which is cool for people who are into that, but this is not my style of comic.
Yeah, it's the style works, I think, especially because it's a book that takes place in a magic place, so nothing is quite as it seems.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Sean Glennon asks if the art style on the cover that we have here on the screen is the same as the interior, and the answer is absolutely yes. And again, like for me, I really like art that's a little bit more standard, I guess. Trad Moore is very comfortable with doing whatever the heck he wants, and that's awesome. Um, there are pages here that don't have words a lot of the time, where the words are kind of like, it almost feels like they're not even necessary. Um,
Yeah, yeah.
it's just window
This
dressing.
yeah, the words, yeah,
Yeah,
for once.
yeah,
This book is definitely an artist showcase. Um, and if you're into that, like I think this stuff is absolutely rad. But I couldn't especially tell you what happened in this at all.
right.
Doctor Strange wandering through a weird magic place, like, and there's a poem sometimes. It's weird, but I don't know. I like it.
Yeah. And again, like I'm sure if Marco were here, I'm sure if Tyler were here, they would have a lot to say. I can appreciate the fact that, and this is probably the only thing that I genuinely liked about the book, is just the fact that Tradmore's going completely ape. Like
Yeah,
this is clearly his vision, his desire, and I can appreciate that. I just wish that there was something to grab onto. Like I couldn't grab on to anything. This doesn't necessarily resemble to me any particular version of Doctor Strange that I know from a dialogue standpoint. I didn't feel like this was Doctor Strange. This could have been any character. Doctor Strange being here is sort of irrelevant. I don't know why this is a Doctor Strange book, other than it just is. You know, um, yeah. I don't know what to criticize really, but I don't know how to praise it either because it's just not my thing. I would pass. I would not. This if I did not do this podcast, if I didn't know that, at the time I kind of figured like everyone would want to read this book and it's a new number one. I wouldn't buy this book for myself. I wouldn't have any interest in this, so I would pass. You have to be a certain kind of person, I think, to for this to be for you. And I'm not that person.
this is the kind of thing I would like more out of superhero comics,
Mm.
and not necessarily with Trad Moore per se, but writer, artist, or relatively singular visions.
Hmm.
That tell a single story, not bound by continuity or whatever.
Right.
Um, and the weirder the better. Well, maybe not. I'm not Marco.
Yeah, I was about to
I enjoy
say,
this.
how weird are you comfortable with it getting?
I mean, it's Marvel. Like, how
Yeah.
weird could it get? How did you feel about the colors in this? I think the colors really stand out. Tradmore. I don't know the history of Tradmore and Heather Moore. Oh, I wonder if they're
Their names are
related somehow.
spelled the same way, the last name.
Yeah.
So it's possible they're together, maybe, or related somehow. Yeah. I mean,
Uh,
I thought the colors were cool. They helped the book pop and stand out. Um, I don't like. Okay, here's an example of a page that I think looks fantastic. This is the page with the red sun, red moon kind of thing. I don't know if you can see that there, but it just looks so vibrant, and I love how it's not quite red. Like the environment is not quite red. It's almost like a pinkish sort of orangey.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. I like that design and that effect.
Yeah. Yeah, what really drew this to me, and I sort of thinking on Tradmore's work, at least when I think of it, is this flat style of color. Like it's,
Right.
I don't know if it, I guess I don't know enough about art to say if this is like done without flats or maybe it's just flats,
Hmm.
but there's no like, there is shading, but it's like very minimal.
Yeah.
It's only like where it's necessary. Um, I like that a lot.
Yeah. That is cool. There's definitely stuff to like here for the right person. And clearly you're that person, so that is cool. I just I
Yeah,
don't know.
I think I am. I think you're right.
Yeah.
Oof, it's tough. I might have to think about this being my pick of the week.
Oh,
I
okay.
think the struggle for me here is I don't know what the hell's going on.
Right. And that's the biggest thing is like I just can't speak to what happens. Normally on this podcast we like to dive into, you know, what occurred in the comic, but how the heck can we do that? I don't know what happened.
Yeah, yeah.
Um
Doctor Strange is on some kind of mission to deliver, and that's all he seems to know. That's all we're given. Like I say, there's a poem sometimes, but that's it.
yeah.
Like,
Yeah, so let's move on. I pass. You pull, I assume.
yeah.
Yeah. Let's talk about something that was a little bit more a little easier to follow. Once Upon a Time at the End of the World. So this is Jason Aaron's first creator-owned book. I would say in a little while now. He's been really deep in the Marvel stuff for a while. So he's making his return with some heavy hitters. This issue, he is joined by Alexander Tefengi, colored by Lee Lowridge. And then on pages 29 and 30, we've got Nick Dragotta, who stepped in and is colored by Rico Renzi. And World Design did the letters. So, if I remember correctly, each issue of this book will actually be drawn, illustrated by a different creative team, with Jason Aaron always writing. This is a
Huh.
completely fresh story that is taking place after some kind of, apocalypse of some sort.
Yeah.
It's like a wasteland of garbage, and
Hmm.
these two young people find each other, and they are on an adventure, and who knows what that is or where it's going to lead to. I found a lot to like here. It's a little bit, I guess, for lack of a better term, is it's a little bit predictable, and it's a little bit sort of obvious and transparent about what it is. It's painfully straightforward, but that doesn't have to be bad. Like for a first issue, if you're going to be straightforward, as long as it goes somewhere, that's okay. What do you think?
It doesn't have to be bad, but it doesn't work for me either.
Okay.
Yeah, I think I kind of felt actually similar to you with Doctor Strange. I just didn't particularly feel like there was much to hang on to here. We don't know the world. I don't. We spend time with. I guess we spend the most time with Mace,
Yeah.
but I didn't particularly care about him.
Yeah. I think you're right in that knowing what happened or having any kind of inkling as to what happened would help. But these two characters are just not the most dynamic. They're both loners by choice or by circumstance, who are opening themselves up for the first time in a long time to human contact,
Yeah,
and that's interesting. But again, the characters aren't so compelling that you're hanging on every line of dialogue, or you're like, gosh, I really wish that they'd open up to each other more or anything like that. They're kind of just there. I don't know. It's not exciting. It's not an exciting comic book.
Yeah, yeah. I think it's an interesting but sort of safe choice
Yep.
to not choose one of these characters as a POV.
Hmm.
Um, and I say interesting in that it's interesting that he did that instead of giving us a window into the world through one character.
Right. Yeah, because I think Aaron wanted to establish them both right out of the gate.
Yeah,
Which I think you could still do while having a
yeah,
clear POV. Um, but so much of it is spent exploring Mace's, is it Mace? The
well, it's Mace at the end,
the dude,
but it's
Mace,
like
yeah.
Maceo
Yeah.
or something.
Yeah. We spent so much time exploring Mace's home. And it's pretty clear that like they're not going to spend any time there. Or
Well,
at least not much.
and even in the first couple of pages when Mezzy
Yeah, yeah.
is rowing her canoe, she says that, she wanted to make it past the tower, but the tower has literally no significance other than Mace lives there.
Right. They made it seem as if that was some type of ominous thing, like that was a big
Yeah.
deal, but it's not. And in fact, nothing's a big deal. And it's not even
Yeah.
a situation where like these I'm actually souring on this book as we talk about it. It's not a situation where these characters are having such an amazing time inside of Mace's home. Mace has
Yeah.
built a place where he can have fun and he can sort of, busy himself because everyone he knows is gone, and that's cool. But so what? You know?
Well, and like it would be interesting if Mezzy was into that,
Right.
and then they were like forced to leave or something,
Right.
but she's like, "Oh no, this sucks. You're dumb. I'm out of here."
Like what's the I guess the inciting incident would be the crab or whatever. Not dinging the boat, forcing Mezzy and
Oh,
Mace
yeah.
to meet.
Yeah,
But that's not like interesting.
pure coincidence.
Right.
Like,
Yeah. There's nothing here that screamed to me, you have to see what happens next. I liked the end tease, which is like a flash forward.
yeah.
That was really cool. I wish that was the first page of this comic book.
Yep. Yeah, and you said each issue is a different creative team. Okay, that's interesting, especially with the cliffhanger or whatever. But yeah, just like it's like you said, my screenwriting professor's motto is "Why now? Why today?" And I'm not getting that from this at all.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know. I think that there are some interesting kernels here, especially at the very, very end, that last tease. And I guess that's the part that's by Nick Dragotta and Rico Renzi,
Yeah.
and that's the handoff.
Yeah.
Which again, best part of the book.
So the next issue will probably be by them.
I I can only assume. That's just my assumption. I don't know that for a fact.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
But if that's how they're going to handle it, I think that's actually pretty interesting.
That's interesting.
But again, it's like post-apocalyptic stuff is supposed to, in my mind, be like, okay, part of this is you're wondering how the heck we got here, but the other part of it is the immediacy of the threat of this new world, or the barrenness of this new world and the fear of that. There's something that's scary or horrifying or dangerous, and that doesn't feel like it's the case here. So who cares?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's kind of where I'm at. I hate to be so negative, but
But there's not much here.
yeah.
It's like, why make it an apocalypse if it's just the world?
Right, or if there's not going to be something different about the world in a way that meaningfully impacts the story, the characters from the
Yeah.
get-go. That's the problem. You read the first issue of The Walking Dead, what do you see? Walking Dead. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's right there. It's right there. You don't have to wonder what this book is about. I do not know what this book is about. I know
What are the
that
stakes here?
right,
Yeah.
exactly. So,
Other than just common survival, I guess. Like,
right. Which that's a part of something interesting,
yeah,
but it needs heat, and right now it didn't have any. And I don't think that I don't think that I would want to come back for more of this unless I find out down the line, like, man, it really turns around. I can't see that happening, at least not for me. But that last 2-page tease was just like, I wish this is what I was reading. So
yeah. I would say if we were to this generally is a pass for me. This
Yeah.
isn't a set of creatives that I look out for generally. But having read it, I guess, and now knowing sort of generally what is coming ahead, if we were to read this for the show, I would at least give it the second issue.
all right, we'll see. I'm gonna look at the solicit, and I'm gonna look at the
Yeah.
preview. If I see that in the preview they're showing that future world, then I will. If that the flash forward becomes our POV, then yeah, sure. But if not, I don't think. I think there's a pass for now, and it might just
Yeah.
be a pass for later. We'll see.
Yeah.
All right, so 2 books that didn't hit me. No home runs yet. For me, this next book knocked it out of the park. We're talking about Human Target number 9.
Okay, let's go.
Yes. Now, this was my pick of the week. I really, really loved this.
Mine as well.
Okay, all right. Because you were on that Doctor Strange train for a little minute there.
It's like I said, yeah, I was for a minute, but it was the really not knowing that killed that for me.
Yeah.
Here it's painfully clear what's going on.
We are almost neck deep in this story at this point. We've only got a few more issues to go. It ends at issue 12. This book opens with Christopher Chance just dying. Like he just died.
Yeah.
And Ice finds a way, or she uses her powers to kind of like slow that process, I guess, long enough to get medical attention. That's how I read it.
Okay. That makes as much sense as anything else. Yeah.
And then they decide to go for a road trip. Ice and Christopher Chance, and they have some interesting conversations. I think this book has some really great moments. Christopher Chance sort of reflecting on what death is, and he has a interesting perspective on it as a guy who sort of his job is to die, or at least to pretend to die, to die for someone else. Constant.
To take the bullet.
Exactly, to take the bullet, to be the human target. What do you think about the origin? We got an origin for his name here. How'd you feel about that?
It's fine. It makes sense. It's fine. It seems a little silly, but I mean, yeah, it's fine.
Where do they train you to do that? Like where do they train you to die for other people?
Army.
Yeah.
Just army stuff.
So yeah, because Ice asks, "How do you get the human target?" And then he says, "It was a joke with the guys who did my training with me." What training did you do? What training are you referring
Army.
to?
He won some medals at Army.
Fair enough. Yeah, so really good dialogue there, but the specter of this issue, the shadow over this issue is Batman. If you can see the cover, you can see that Christopher Chance is in the shadow of Batman, and that is what this issue is about. That's the brilliance of this comic book. This is the best issue of Human Target, I think, yet from me. Last week, or whenever we last week, when I talked about this for my Pals poll, I said that I was excited to see how Tom King would use Batman outside of a Batman comic. We saw that a little bit in Strange Adventures, I think, but how would it happen here? And the answer is he used him by never showing him.
Yep.
Absolutely brilliant.
Yep. Yeah, it's interesting to see sort of what, I guess, like, to get like a glimpse of what the criminal element would think about Batman.
Sure.
Especially with like Christopher Chance, who's not like technically a criminal. I mean, he did murder guy, but you know, like, you know, he's not, other than that major factor. He's not, you know, he's not normally a criminal. Like,
right.
Normally he wouldn't sweat Batman. And he seems to know how Batman even operates, or he has an idea of how Batman operates. So, like, he's clearly normally not like afraid of him,
because there's nothing to be afraid of.
If
someone kills a member of the Justice League, I would argue that Batman is probably the one to be the most fearful of coming for you, if you're trying to hide from that fact. Because what can you do to stop him from learning what you did? And in this comic, Christopher Chance, in the background, you know, in his thoughts, is going through every possible scenario. Batman knows I'm here. He can listen. He's flying over us. He's following us. And to the point where he thinks Batman's a random guy in a diner. Because we know that Batman will wear a disguise. We know about Matches Malone, you know?
And the thing is, like, it makes you question everyone else too. Like, right. There was a point where I was like, oh, okay, if he's not the guy in the diner, he must be the old lady.
Right.
And then they were driving away, and I was like, is he Ice? Is Batman? Like,
how'd he pull that one off? That's a tall order. But then he's not there at all, and he never was. Yeah. And in his absence, right, Batman has an amazing cameo, if you will. I say cameo in quotation marks, but also drives the story to a place where we're on our way to the conclusion. Because now Human Target knows there's something really wrong. Because if Batman's not after him, then Guy Gardner's not dead. That has to be the case.
Or, you know, I mean, Batman might just not give a shit. I mean, he's got a pretty storied history with Guy Gardner.
Fair enough, but
you're right.
Like, if a Justice League member dies, Batman's the one. You know, Superman will find you if you're findable. Like, if you know, I don't know, if Metallo,
and you're gonna
yeah. If Metallo got a kill,
be findable.
Yeah. If Superman will find you. But if you're on the run, if you're hidden, Batman's the guy.
And when you said that just a minute ago, and it took me to Identity Crisis. And you go through that whole book, and it's all about these minor characters. Yeah. Batman's like lurking in the background, and he's the one that goes, "Oh no."
So this was awesome to me. This was again, like, Human Target has been phenomenal throughout. It's gotten even better. Think about what you thought, like, around issue 7, let's say, of Strange Adventures. We were coming around, like we were starting to turn, but this has been all cylinders the whole time.
And man, I only started Human Target on at the halfway point.
Wait, but you've read the other ones?
No, I haven't. I still haven't. I need to go pick up the trade. That's what
Oh,
I've been
okay,
waiting
yeah,
for.
yeah.
But I read issue 8 before this with Rocket Red, and I just, man,
That was good.
what a great issue.
Yeah, yeah, that was really good.
I was having a conversation with Murphy about like innovation in comics lately and like what that could look like. And I think at DC, it might be stuff like this. Like Tom King's voice isn't, I think, wholly original, but I think what he's doing with characters right now is.
He's finding unique ways to tell stories. Even
Yeah.
Batman Killing Time had a unique storytelling convention. When you look at stuff like Rorschach, like the way he's telling the stories is interesting. Sometimes more than the dialogue or some of those
Yeah.
kinds of
Yeah.
choices. I agree with that, but I would also say that Human Target does have great dialogue, and I think
Yeah, absolutely.
part of that is the fact that he's allowed to do whatever he wants. Who the heck cares about Christopher Chance? Whereas in Batman, you can't do that.
Yeah. And Chance has such a unique voice
Yeah.
too. Like it drips off the page. You know this guy. You're in his head and it's him. Like you know who this guy is. And it feels so well crafted.
Yeah. Absolutely. This is brilliant stuff. The art's also really great. Greg Smallwood hasn't missed. If you didn't hear our interview with Tom King, one of the things that he said was that working with Greg Smallwood on this was the only reason he took the book seriously.
Yeah.
This was never supposed to happen. This was a joke.
Wild.
That there would be a Human Target book. Someone made a joke about that. And it might have even been a Tom King joke. But then an editor hit him up and was like, hey, do you want to really do that? He was like, what do you mean? Human Target. And then he said, well, we got Greg Smallwood. And then he said, all right, well, let's get it then. And there's never been a moment where Greg Smallwood hasn't come across as a superstar.
Yeah.
All throughout.
Yeah. Yeah, this is incredible.
Yeah. Just phenomenal work across the board. And I also wanted to shout out Clayton Cowles on this too, because Clayton Cowles has been doing a phenomenal job with the lettering. There are some moments that I really love, like for example, in this 9-panel grid, it's just a simple conversation between Ice and Christopher Chance. But what I really love from a lettering standpoint is the way that the word balloons travel between the panels in that middle of the 9-panel grid. It's such a good convention because they're not in those panels. You can, like the beginning of the balloon train, or I guess the end of it rather, starts with them not on the panel, and then it moves towards them, and it keeps the trail through the gutters, and I really love that. This is just a nice little touch on the part of
it's such good comics too, because that's like the passing of time and space as well.
Right. Exactly. Which is why
That's
you use
so
the
good.
9-panel
Yeah.
grid. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Brilliant. Easy pull. Book of the week. On a week that left me pretty unimpressed otherwise, this was a huge standout.
When did Human Target start? Last year?
Yeah, definitely.
Summer
Actually,
of last year?
well, let me think about that because it took a hiatus throughout
Yeah.
this summer, but it
Yeah.
only had the hiatus happened at issue 6. So it's possible that it started this year, but it would have been very early in the year. So either early this year, late last year, I would say.
I might go as far as to say this could be book of the year.
My man, you haven't even read the first 5.
Listen, I feel that strongly about it. I really like this book.
I'm with you, man. I'm with you. Whenever we get to doing our end of the year picks, this will be very up there
Yeah.
for me. Will it be over by no, not quite. There's still
No.
I would imagine one issue to go.
Three issues to go, yeah.
One this year, and then it would close out next year. So, yeah. Well, we've got one book left, and that is the listener pick this week. Our very first G.I. Joe comic. This is G.I. Joe number 300. G.I. Joe is a real American hero. I should point that out.
Interesting.
Yes, worth knowing. Written by Larry Hama, art by S.L. Gallant, inks by Maria Keene, colors by Jay Brown, letters by Neil Utaki, something like that. I'm sorry if I'm butchering that. Okay. Now, I have to say up front, I have 0.0 familiarity with G.I. Joe. Never watched the shows, didn't see the movies, never read the comic. The extent of my G.I. Joe knowledge is an episode we did about 4 years ago where we talked about Aubrey Sitterson. That's the only thing I know about G.I. Joe.
Did you get into the memes, the G.I. Joe memes way back in the day, early YouTube?
Nope.
Not at all.
Nope.
Oh, man. That makes me wish Tyler was here so bad because I'm definitely going to talk about it.
I'm going to say this too. And this is embarrassing, but I don't even know if G.I. Joe appeared in this comic book. I don't know who G.I. Joe is.
Now that you say that, I'm not sure I do either. I don't know. I did see the movie, the first one. I think Channing Tatum was in that one.
Yeah, that sounds right.
I did see that. And other than the early YouTube memes, like, that's the extent of my knowledge. I know Snake Eyes because he's cool.
Right.
But I didn't know Tom Selleck was a G.I. Joe.
I don't even know who that is. Oh, he's an actor, right?
Yeah, he's in not Starsky and Hutch, not Knight Rider.
Little House on the Prairie.
No,
I'm just memeing. All right, well, the premise of the book is they are, and by they,
Smokey and the Bandit.
Okay. I guess this is Cobra. That's the enemy team, right, of G.I. Joe. I guess it's Cobra. Yep. They've cloned, what's his name?
Snake Eyes.
Snake Eyes, thank you. They cloned Snake Eyes, and he's not who they think he's going to be. Genghis Khan is here, or resurrected Genghis Khan. That's completely off the wall. And there is... Yeah.
I read that as a shot at the other guy's technique. Oh, he's as much Snake Eyes as I'm Genghis Khan, right? Like,
but is he not really that? Is he?
I think he is, yeah.
Yeah. So that's pretty weird. This felt like whenever you are a kid and you are playing with all your action figures and you just want them to fight. Now, we're reading issue 300. Yeah. I have no idea what happened in 299. But
it's even worse. It's like going to someone else's house and using their action figures to fight, and you have no idea what's going on.
Moreover, it's like going to someone else's house and they're forcing you to play whatever narrative they've been involved in, and you have to join that with no prior knowledge of what's been happening.
And they also live in a different neighborhood. Right.
And they also cost $6.99 to be able to start playing.
Fuck.
Yeah, so there's a lot of like action. This is very, very action heavy. But this is one of the most hollow books I've ever read.
It's all acronyms. It's guns. It's code names. Like
even the sound effects is the most generic. Rat at is the sound effect for shooting.
Yep.
Yeah, like just completely generic. The sound you would make if you were just a kid pretending to shoot a machine gun.
Or the sound loud rappers make.
Wow. Can you do that again?
I don't know what it is. I've heard kids do that.
I'm gonna need Tyler to clip that. I don't even. That's not even the right.
Is it not? Oh man.
Yeah, this wasn't good. I don't think this. It didn't even say anything particularly meaningful about GI Joe to me that I could tell. You would think that an issue 300 would have like some really interesting and meaningful thoughts to share, or like a poignant moment, and maybe a more knowledgeable GI Joe reader could tell me that the reunion between these two people, who I have no context for example, is so amazing because they haven't seen each other in 10 years and it's this really deep moment. Maybe that's the case. I don't know. But as far as what I was able to get out of this was the most run of the mill. Like, it's exactly what you would think G.I. Joe would be, and absolutely nothing more than that.
Yeah. So my guess, and this is with zero, this is with two G.I. Joe knowledge. My guess is that the people who actually end up, in that reunion page or whatever on the boat,
Yeah.
my guess is that they're sort of original G.I. Joe characters.
Okay.
Because I think the lady with the red hair here is Scarlet. Now, she was in the movie.
Okay.
And then the blonde guy next to her, that's Snake Eyes. He took off his mask.
Okay.
That's as far as I can. They talk about how, they have this deep relationship, and Snake Eyes and this this other ninja guy, and then Tom Selleck and the other guy with the gun. They're a deep team, and they're gonna go save Snake Eyes. I could be wildly off about all of that. So my thinking is maybe this is the original team. Maybe this is the reunion.
Okay. All right.
I listen. Don't
All right.
don't make me swear on that. Like,
I mean, that makes as much sense as anything else. It makes more sense than what I thought, because I have no idea what the heck I thought about this. Other than that, I don't know how anyone reads this.
I mean, we were asked to come in on issue 300,
Yeah.
so we knew what we were walking into. Didn't I feel like I just heard that Image now has the rights to G.I. Joe and Transformers?
That sounds accurate, because I know that they lost the rights. I believe that they were picked up by Image, yeah.
I would be semi-interested to start there.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree.
Because, I mean, even if this is even still the same book that we reported on 4 years ago, like, how the hell?
I know, right? At the time, the argument was that the book was too diverse, and well, it appears that those people won because there's not a lot going on in that regard, and that's fine. I don't care about that as much. I'm just worried about the fact that I don't know why I spent $7 on this. We should put a limit on the amount of money the listener pick can cost. Can't be a $7 comic, okay? Jesus, pass.
Yeah. Oh, hard pass unless you're a G.I. Joe fan, I guess.
Yeah.
So in the back of the book, there's a Stop the Bleed G.I. Joe thing. Now, what I do know is, back in the day on the old cartoon, they used to have stuff like this, sort of G.I. Joe PSAs. If your smoke alarm goes off and you see smoke, you got to get out of the house. G.I. Joe. So in the, early days of YouTube, someone put together these GI Joe PSAs, and so they would do the thing, the somebody would be burning something on the stove and the smoke detector would be going off, and GI Joe would break in and ask, and you go, "Oh my God, you're so fucking dead! Oh, I can't believe we're gonna fucking die. This house is gonna burn down and we're gonna be in it. Oh my God!" And it was the funniest thing 2005 had to offer.
Wow.
And
Well,
that's all I could think about reading that. So
2005, 95, 85. I definitely feel like this is a relic. And if you are into G.I. Joe, hats off. You're a real American hero.
oh, I should have just let you have that. I knew where you were going. That's on me.
So that's it for the reviews. But we have one more thing to get to. Well, two more things, technically. Because I was tagged last week to read something that's been at the top of my to-read pile since August. That is none other than Batman One Bad Day, The Riddler #1. It's, of course, by
Finally.
Tom King, Mitch Gerads. And this is supposed to be the prototype of the One Bad Day books. This is the one that every other one has to live up to. This is the one that everyone's raved about, and I am the last person on earth to read it. My
now
thoughts.
We can all die.
Exactly. We can die with the knowledge that I have read this and that I liked it. I liked it. I thought it was strong. It's definitely a deep dive into the Riddler in a way that I don't think we've really seen before. It adds a lot of wrinkles to his character that were unknown to me, like that his dad was this headmaster at a very prestigious school and he was abusive. That moment where he's abusing a young Edward is very uncomfortable. Very, very uncomfortable. Not to say that comics can't show things like that or whatever, but I read comics where people get blown up and stabbed, and I mean, G.I. Joe had a girl get exploded. Did you catch that? That woman, the one who was trying to come after them when they were in the plane, and they just shot her down, and she died?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, she was a robot, though, so.
Oh, okay. Yeah, well, who cares then?
I think.
The moment of Riddler being abused as a child was worse than all the things that I've seen in comics of late.
This week, anyway.
Certainly. I felt like it was too long. I think that there were things in it that... Oh, hello, Miss Snowden. Thank you. Appreciate you. Hope you're having a good night as well. Yeah, there were definitely too many things going on for me. Like... There's the part where they're showing, someone. They're showing the guy who killed himself in Arkham, and his plan to get a movie shown at Cannes or whatever. That was funny, but I don't think it was necessary. I feel like that could have been cut. This was 68 pages? 68 pages.
Yeah. All of these books are like that, yeah.
Yeah. This one I felt the length of, for sure. And then I just this was a dark take on the Riddler, man. Dark take on the Riddler. But I appreciated the ending a lot. I think the ending was the best part for me.
Okay, interesting. Yeah.
So Batman speaking to Riddler's father, that was a great scene. And then Batman pulling up on Riddler like, yeah, I'm not playing this game with you anymore. I didn't like that Riddler decided, all right, I'm just going to kill anyone that I want and no one's going to stop me. And that everybody was cool with that. I don't believe that. The Riddler's a man. I get why Batman wouldn't kill him. I get why Jim Gordon wouldn't kill him. But the idea that the mob, that he would kill the wives of all the heads of the crime lords, and they'd just be like, yeah, not only are we giving him what he wants, but we're going to help him get what he wants, and we're going to not kill him. Sorry, Tom King.
Yeah. Nope. that was, as I recall, that was my big problem with it too. Is like, again, we are talking about the Riddler. Like,
Yeah.
come on.
Yeah.
But up to that point, and even like Batman, pulling up to him, like you said, was like, okay, yeah.
Yeah. So I
Um,
just I didn't love that, but I thought everything else was great.
how do you feel now, with the context of that was the first one? How do you feel the others hold up to that?
Okay, I'm glad you asked because I wanted to discuss that, and I wanted to discuss whether I think even the first one lives up to the one bad day concept. Um, I think it does if we accept that we're not talking about we're not talking about that living through that character's one bad day in the moment. Because that's definitely not the case here. In my mind, Riddler's one bad day is the thing that changes him, which is killing the teacher.
Yeah.
Okay, so we see that,
Uh-huh.
but
Uh-huh.
the book is not about his one bad day. The book is about his change. The same way that all the other ones are not about that character's one bad day. And in some
Sorry,
instances,
his,
sorry,
his change into the Riddler.
has changed from a goofy, fun-loving riddle guy to a murderer.
To
To a
Right. Okay. Right. Yeah.
So I don't think any of them thus far have truly lived up to the one bad day idea. Um, and I don't think that this one does it any better or worse than like Mr. Freeze, for example. What's Mr. Freeze's one bad day? The day his wife died, right? We see that, like that stuff's there, but that's not what the book is all like. That's not the present moment problem, if you
Yeah.
will. So for me, I think I like Mr. Freeze more. But this was very good. So far I'm going Mr. Freeze, Riddler, Penguin, Two-Face. That's
Makes
where I'm
sense. I think I would switch Riddler and Mr. Freeze.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would. Yeah, for me, the Riddler makes the most sense as like the best one because I think it sort of follows the format of the Killing Joke. In that, you sort
Sure,
of this
sure.
that was sort of where we see the definitive quote unquote origin of the Joker, and we see like his bad day that turned him into the Joker, and then we sort of see him, in the now or whatever, take that extra step into, really messing with Batman.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think the Riddler One Bad Day does that, but I don't think the rest do.
Yeah, because even the Penguin one is not even it's not about his relationship to Batman at all.
At all.
Two-Face one is well, it sort of is. I don't know. I kind of just wish that they had marketed these as, hey, this is a really iconic character, and we're gonna put a great creative team together to tell a story about them. And that's it.
Yeah.
But again, very good, very very good. So this gives me tag power. I really
luck.
want to pick on Marco. That's what I feel like doing.
Okay.
So what
Yeah,
I
you
wanted,
should.
I want,
Hit him hard, and you know why.
I do know why. And I think you tell me, Kale. You tell me because you've done me dirty in the past. So you tell me,
Okay.
is this dirty enough? I want Marco to read and report back on Ultimates 3.
Whoa. Let me make sure. I'm just gonna make sure I'm
Actually,
thinking of the right
that's
thing.
Jeff Loeb, Scarlet Witch, Quicksilver,
Yeah,
Incest.
it sure is.
Now, should we do that? Or should we do Ultimatum? Because Ultimatum was awful.
Ultimatum is the one. That's the one where he's like mourning his child, right?
Yes.
No, give him the senseless schlock. Ultimates 3. I think that'll be worse.
All right. So Marco will be reading Ultimates 3, I guess like the first 2 issues. And he'll report back on them next week. Hey, Marco, have fun.
You know why. You
Have
know what
fun.
you did.
I hope you have a blast. Let's get into Pals Polls. You and I, Kale, both chose Justice Society of America #1.
Ooh, yeah, baby. Jeff Johns and the Justice Society, like, this is a golden age coming home. Justice Society is like top 3 team for me. And it's even better that Jeff Johns is coming back, especially in his, like, I don't know, it's weird to say his renaissance. I'm kind of feeling that for Jeff Johns right now, though.
Yeah.
But the sweetener on this cake, the cherry on top, is Michael Janin on the art. And ooh, baby, I think that's gonna be good.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, absolutely. I am excited. I don't know jack about the JSA, really. These characters aren't my characters, but I love me some Jeff Johns, and Michael Janin is phenomenal as well, so I'm looking forward to this. We both chose this.
Finally gonna get your Wildcat education.
Oh, God. All right. And then you also chose Star Trek #2.
Ooh, yeah. This is, I mean, it's a Star Trek renaissance, too. I forget, Jackson Irving? No, I don't remember the creative team. This is the continuation of Deep Space Nine that is bringing back Benjamin Sisko into the continuity. It's just, it's getting back into what the hell is going on.
Okay.
Jackson Lansing and Colin Kelly.
Yeah.
The last issue was cool. We got to meet a bunch of old crew members from all over the dang Star Trek universe. Scotty from the original series is on the ship for some reason. He's like hundreds of years old for some reason. And I think Worf is going to be in this issue.
Oh, that I like.
Yeah. And I'm really looking for it. Not that I dislike this in the first issue, but I'm really looking forward to not having to go through like the exposition of the last one. It's room for all story, baby. Let's go.
I agree. I enjoyed the first one, and I will definitely be picking this up. So cool. And then I went a little different with my other pick, Saga of a Doomed Universe, #1. Now, this is a strange choice for me, but I loved the look and feel of it. So this book is supposed to be kind of a love letter, a homage to event comic books. And the idea is that this main character, this hero, he's sort of like the last hero on Earth. Everyone else has died, and he has to try to be the hero that Earth needs, and he's going to do whatever it takes to be that, even if it means destroying the universe. So I'm pretty into this. It's by Scott Reed, who I don't know, but I love the colors or the covers that they have. There's several variants. They're all homages to different events, different iconic moments in comics, and it's pretty interesting. So I'm gonna give this a pull next week. I'm curious. I'm not sure if it's. I don't know enough about Scott Reed to know if this is up my alley or not, but we'll see. I'm gonna give it a shot.
Oh yeah, these covers rule. Holy
Yeah,
cow.
right. Yeah.
Yeah, it's from Comics Experience, which I don't think I've ever heard of.
So Comics Experience is a class. It's a comic school. I took it in
Oh,
2010. And they, I guess, now have a publishing arm, and they are putting this out through there.
CEX Publishing.
Yeah. So, pretty cool.
Well, it seems like they've actually got a lot coming,
Yeah.
just based on Forbidden Planet's website.
So that's going to do it for us. That's Pals Pulls. Let us know what you want to see us reading next week. If there's a pick that you want to be the listener pick, feel free to send that our way. We will absolutely read it for you guys if we choose it.
Unless it costs $7.
Yeah, you guys didn't do us any favors on this one. And then when it comes out and the G.I. Joe fans get mad because we didn't like
coming
it
for us.
Oh boy, yeah, I'm gonna.
This
need
ain't gonna be like when we tried Spawn without you and I.
No.
You remember?
Yeah.
They
There was
gonna
hate.
come for us. Mm-hmm. They gonna come for us.
Well, bring it on. Thanks so much for listening. Make sure that you guys are following, subscribing, liking. All that stuff helps us out a ton. Costs you nothing to do. Listen to our main show every single Saturday live at 10:15 a.m. And this show is normally on Thursdays at 6 p.m. Eastern. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. Go enjoy that turkey or chicken or whatever it is that you enjoy on Thanksgiving. Thanks for listening. And until next time, we're the Comics